My daughter hid me at the back table, then the venue owner asked why I wasn't up front. My daughter told the wedding planner to seat me where no one important would see me. She did not say it loudly. She did not have to. Some insults are delivered softly because the person saying them already believes they have power. I was standing near the entrance of the lakefront venue, holding a small silver gift bag in both hands, when I heard her whisper to the planner, "Please put my mother somewhere in the back. She gets overwhelmed. And honestly, I do not want her near the front table." The planner glanced at me for half a second, then looked away as if I had already become a problem she needed to manage. My daughter, Elise, smiled at me when she turned around. "Mom, you look nice," she said. "Not beautiful, not happy to see you. Just nice." I looked down at the navy blue dress I had chosen 3 weeks earlier. It was simple, modest, and pressed so carefully that I'd been afraid to sit down on the drive over. My shoes were old but polished. My coat was plain but clean. I had done everything I could to look like a mother who belonged at her only daughter's wedding. But Elise had spent years teaching people to see me differently. To her friends, I was the struggling widow who never quite caught up. To her fiancé's family, I was the quiet woman from a small house on the wrong side of town. To the wedding guests, I was just another older relative who would smile for photos, stay out of the way, and leave before the important people started talking business. So when the planner led me past the front rows, past the family table, past the floral arch and the champagne display, I already knew where I was going. The back table. It was beside a service door, close enough to hear plates clattering in the kitchen. My place card was printed in the same elegant gold lettering as everyone else's, but the table itself told the real story. One distant cousin I barely knew, 2 neighbors from the groom's side, an elderly man who had clearly been seated there because no one knew where else to put him. I sat down and placed the silver gift bag beneath my chair. Then I looked across the room at my daughter. Elise was glowing. Her dress sparkled under the chandeliers. Her new in-laws stood around her like a wall of polished glass. They laughed easily, touched her shoulder, adjusted her veil, introduced her to people with names that sounded like buildings and law firms. I wanted to feel proud. Instead, I felt myself disappearing. For most of my life, I had been very good at disappearing. After my husband died, I worked every job I could find. Morning shifts, night shifts, weekend cleaning, bookkeeping for a local contractor, reception work at a dental office. I signed forms at kitchen tables while Elise slept. I took business calls in supermarket car parks. I learned how to stretch money so far it almost became a miracle. And I never told Elise all of it. Children should not have to carry the full weight of their parents' sacrifices. That was what I believed. So I let her think things had been easier than they were. I let her complain about secondhand coats and packed lunches and the school trips I could not afford. Then, when things finally changed, I did not announce that either. I did not tell her when I invested the first money I saved. I did not tell her when one of the small companies I helped manage became profitable. And I certainly did not tell her when I bought into a struggling venue by the lake, because I believed the place could become something beautiful. It was called Belmere House, the same venue where my daughter was now hiding me at the back table. If stories like this remind you that the quietest person in the room often carries the heaviest truth, please subscribe to Midnight Confessions. Because what happened next changed the way everyone in that room looked at me. The first humiliation came before dinner. A woman from the groom's family walked over, holding a glass of champagne and wearing a smile that did not reach her eyes. "You must be Elise's mother," she said. "I am," I replied. "Marion." "Oh yes, Elise mentioned you." She looked at my dress, then at my hands. She said you prefer simple things. There was a pause after the word simple, a pause long enough for the woman beside her to understand the joke. I smiled because that is what women like me are expected to do. We are expected to smile when we are being measured. We are expected to forgive the insult before it has even finished landing. She has done very well for herself, the woman continued, looking back toward Elise, marrying into a family like ours. A family like ours. I nodded once. She has always wanted a beautiful life, I said. The woman tilted her head. And now she'll have one? When she walked away, I looked down at the silver gift bag under my chair. Inside was a small framed photograph of Elise when she was 6 years old, sitting on my husband's shoulders at a park. She was laughing so hard her eyes were closed. I had wrapped it carefully, thinking she might want a piece of the family that had loved her before she learned to be embarrassed by us. For a moment I considered leaving. Then the speeches began. Elise's father was gone, so there was no traditional speech from our side. No one had asked me to say anything. Not a toast. Not a blessing. Not even a small memory. The groom's father stood first. He spoke about legacy, reputation, family standards, and the importance of surrounding yourself with the right people. Every few sentences, his eyes drifted toward the front tables, where the guests he considered important sat shining under the lights. He never looked toward the back. Then Elise stood. My daughter held the microphone with both hands. "I want to thank everyone who helped make this day possible," she said, "especially my new family, who showed me what it means to dream bigger." People clapped. She smiled. Then she added, "Some of us come from humble beginnings, but love gives us the chance to become more than where we started." The room softened. People nodded as if she had said something brave. I felt something inside me go very still. Humble beginnings. That was what she called my life. Not sacrifice, not survival, not a mother doing everything she could with broken pieces and unpaid bills. Just humble beginnings, something to escape and politely mention in a speech. I kept my hands folded in my lap. Then a server appeared beside me. "Mrs. Whitmore?" he asked quietly. I looked up. "Yes?" "The general manager would like to speak with you." The cousin beside me blinked. "Is something wrong?" "No," the server said. His voice changed when he looked at me, softer, more respectful. "Not at all." I stood. Across the room, Elise noticed. Her smile tightened. I could almost hear what she was thinking. "Please do not make a scene. Please do not embarrass me." I followed the server toward the side hallway near the office. Before we reached it, a tall man in a dark suit stepped out. His name was Daniel Mercer, and he had managed Belmere House for 8 years. He looked relieved when he saw me. "Mrs. Whitmore," he said, loud enough for the nearest tables to hear. "I am so sorry to interrupt the reception." People turned. Daniel lowered his voice for a moment. "There is a problem with the final vendor approval. The paperwork requires the owner's signature." The room seemed to quiet around us. I heard a chair scrape. Elise appeared suddenly at my side, her dress whispering across the floor. "What is going on?" she asked, forcing a laugh. "Why are you bothering my mother with paperwork?" Daniel looked at her with polite confusion. "Because your mother owns Belmere House." For a second, no one breathed. Elise stared at him. Then she looked at me. Not the way she had looked at me at the entrance. Not the quick, embarrassed glance she gave when she was afraid someone important might see us together. This time she really looked at me, as if I had become a stranger wearing her mother's face. "That is not funny," she said. Daniel did not smile. "It is not meant to be." The groom's father stepped closer. "There must be some mistake." I reached into my handbag and removed the reading glasses I almost never wore in public. My fingers were steady. That surprised me most of all. "No mistake," I said. Daniel handed me the folder. On the front page was the name of the holding company I had used for years. Beneath it, in clean black letters, was my full legal name. Marion Evelyn Whitmore. Owner. The word sat there calmly, doing what I had never done. It introduced me without apology. Someone whispered behind us, The groom's mother covered her mouth. The planner, the same woman who had seated me at the back, went pale. Elise looked from the folder to the room, then back to me. "You own this place?" she asked. I signed the page slowly. "Yes." Her voice dropped. "Why did you never tell me?" I closed the folder and handed it back to Daniel. "Because I wanted to see what you valued when you thought I had nothing to give you." No one clapped. No one laughed. There was only silence, thick and honest. That was the moment the room changed. The people who had looked through me all evening suddenly tried to find my eyes. The woman who called my life simple stepped backward. The groom's father adjusted his jacket as if dignity could be straightened back into place. The planner stared at the floor, and Elise, my beautiful daughter, my only child, looked like she wanted to be 6 years old again. "Mom," she whispered, "I didn't mean—" "Yes," I said gently. "You did." Her face crumpled. "I was just trying to make everything perfect." I looked around the room, at the flowers, the chandeliers, the crystal glasses, the lake glowing dark beyond the windows. Perfect for whom? She had no answer. That was the hardest part. Not the seating, not the whispers, not the shame she had tried to wrap around me like an old coat. The hardest part was realizing she had practiced a version of her wedding day where I was present, but hidden, included but not honored, alive but inconvenient. I picked up the silver gift bag from beneath the back table and placed it in her hands. "This was for you," I said. She opened it with trembling fingers. When she saw the photograph of herself on her father's shoulders, her mouth opened, but no sound came out. "He would have been proud of the woman you could have been today," I said, "but he would have expected better from the woman you chose to be." Tears filled her eyes. The groom reached for her hand, but she did not take it. For the first time that evening, she was not performing for anyone. She was just my daughter, standing in the middle of a room she had built from appearance and learning what it had cost her. I did not cancel the wedding. I did not throw anyone out. I did not raise my voice. Revenge would have been easy in that moment. But dignity is quieter than revenge and far more difficult to take away. I asked Daniel to make sure the staff were paid properly, including overtime. I asked him to send the remaining food to the local shelter we supported. Then I returned to the back table and finished my glass of water while the room slowly remembered how to speak. Elise came to me near the end of the night. Her makeup was ruined. Her voice was small. "I am sorry," she said, "not because they found out, because I made you feel like you did not belong." That was the first honest thing she had said all day. I looked at her for a long time. "I always belonged," I said. "You were the one who forgot." She nodded, crying silently. I reached for her hand, not because everything was fixed, but because love is not the same as pretending pain did not happen. Some wounds need truth before they can begin to heal. I left Belmere House before the final song. Outside, the lake was dark and still. The lights from the venue shimmered across the water, beautiful from a distance, softer than they had felt inside. For years, I thought being underestimated was something I had to endure. That night, I learned it could also be protection. While they were busy deciding who I was quietly becoming someone they never expected. I did not leave that room with revenge in my hands. I left with my name, my peace, and the proof that silence had never meant weakness. If this story stayed with you, please like and subscribe to Midnight Confessions. And remember, sometimes the truth waits patiently until the whole room is finally ready to hear it.